In this video, I'm teaching you how to make cards appear like Ant-Man, how to change cards like the Now You See Me movie, and how to make a key appear and vanish like Tom Cruise did in Mission Impossible. This is a compilation video of our 3 movie trick tutorials from this month, so if you're an active supporter and you've already seen these tutorials, that's okay if you don't want to see this. This is just another way that people can come across it, and it's all in one place. So I hope you enjoy the magic. The Ant-Man trick. This is back palm, and we're going to walk through all the steps of it. It's easy to understand, but I think difficult to master. Go ahead and get a deck of cards, or really just a single card in this situation, and you have everything you need to perform this. And speaking of Marvel, if you can make a Spider-Man motion, you are already on your way to being able to perform this. The achieved illusion is a card being waved seemingly into nothingness and then brought back. But of course, it's called back palm, so you can probably assume what we're doing here. So from the exposed angle, you're going to curl these 2 fingers inward so that your index finger and your pinky can curl around the card, kind of near the lower edge or at least past halfway. And as they extend, you're going to extend all your fingers and then squeeze in. And that is essentially back palm. So again, just curl in and then unfurl. Now, a few notes on this. One is that you do have some corners that might peek out just barely here. And you want to minimize that as much as possible, but it's okay if you can't completely get rid of it. And here's why. You're not going to be able to fully remove those corners. So what do you do about that? Is you add some movement. So this, in the world of card manipulation, is a whole thing. There's kind of an elegance to this genre of card magic. You're waving the card, getting into position, and as you execute the sleight of hand move, you're going to continue to wave, and then you can bring it back. Now, I think in some of the other movies and shows you see, I'm particularly thinking of, WandaVision, and there's a character who like approaches and is able to snatch the card up. That's a pretty cool way to do it. You would just have to be aware of the fact that you got to watch your angles on the approach. So if you're going to introduce yourself to someone that way, that would be pretty cool, but you just got to watch your ankles. So that's the basic move, and if that's all you came for, that's great. But if you wanted to think of how to put this into the context of a full trick, that's the sort of thing I love to think about with simple sleight of hand moves, is how do we actually provide a full routine experience to our audience. As a magician, it's crucial to have the right tools and tricks with you so that you can perform at a moment's notice. So that's why I've created for you a list of over 25 essential tools, tricks, props that you should have in your toolkit as a magician. Make these part of your toolkit and your everyday carry as a magician, and you will level up your magic. I'm providing this resource as a free PDF for you. All you need to do is check the link in the description down below, and you'll be able to download that checklist of over 25 essential items I recommend every magician should have. So a way you could do that is by having a card selected, and then you're going to control it actually second to the top in this situation. Here's why. So you control it second to the top, and if you want to learn how to do the card control that I just did right here, you need to check out my tutorial for the Ed Marlowe tilt control. But you're going to control it second to the top. Now you can show that their card isn't on the top or on the bottom, and then you just throw this card down. So now you've loaded their card up top, ready to go. As you go to adjust the deck, you're going to hide getting into back palm from behind the deck, just like that. So from this angle, you're coming down, and you're going to hide getting into back palm. From here, you can then seem to pluck the card out of the air by adding some motion and then grabbing it. So that's the basic mechanic of how to form this into a full routine, or at least part of a card selection routine in a close-up magic set. But we have to take it even further. So just freestyling here, how do you present what I just portrayed? Well, what you can do is make it seem as though the card that's on top is your proposal for their selection. So you control it second to the top, and then you say, boom, I have now found your card. And they will say, no, you haven't. So this is a classic magician messes up kind of trope, but it can be used to great effect because now they're thrown off the rhythm. You have not shown them their card yet. You can place this on bottom to prepare the selection. You can say, oh my gosh, I need to find your card. Okay, let me see what I can do here. So you've done that little bit of a rhythm breaker, and then you're gonna get into position with your back palm. And your explanation before you get into that portion can be that sometimes cards aren't lost, they're just invisible, and how maybe it's somewhere around here and you're gonna try to pluck it out of the air, right? Of course they know that's not what's really happening, but it's a magic trick. You're just trying to have some fun. So then you can act like you're trying to get that sucker out of the air, and that just makes it a little bit more fun. It provides a little bit of a railway for this trick to run on. Today I'm going to be teaching you a very visual and impressive and quick card trick popularized by David Blaine in his Street Magic specials, and also I would say repopularized in the Now You See Me movies. This is a great trick that combines, I'd say, 2 to 3 moves. We're also going to go through how we can present this so that you can truly amaze your audiences. Let's dive into it right now. So it's the late 90s, early aughts, and David Blaine hops on and he's addressing you right to camera, and he asks you to just merely think of a card that you see in the deck as he riffles them by. He then shows you a card that is not yours, and in the blink of an eye, it changes into another card. Super cool. Fast forward, we have the big blockbuster film Now You See Me about magicians, and Jesse Eisenberg does the same trick in sort of split ways, but they also used it in the marketing for the film. So the first part of the trick is a fascinating, you could call it like a psychological force that comes from, so far as I'm aware, the expert at the card table. And in that book, it was described as a force where you stop for a second on a card, and that kind of psychologically conditions your spectator to think of it. So we're doing that, but we're doing it with the top card, actually, in this case. And so fellow magicians out there, magic historians, if you know where that iteration came from, let me know, as I certainly want to be able to be aware and credit that. But all that to say, this is a very old idea that continues to get iterated on, is how can I like show you the cards and kind of like get you to think of one, wahaha. So Blaine is very intentional in how he's saying it. He says, I want you to see a card as I go through the deck. So he doesn't say just think of any card, because then you might think of a card that is not seen. He also says don't think of this one, because that would be obvious. So whatever the bottom card is, you're saying, hey, don't think of that one, that would be obvious. And then here's how you go through. You're going to go through super quickly and then stop just a little bit longer on the top card. So again, it's like this. It's a little bit of a knack, but once you get the hang of it, you'll get that rhythm down, right? It's kind of a little bit of a rhythm. I don't know why I'm doing this. Get that rhythm down to where you can flick quick and then stop on that last card just a little bit longer. Another nuance he does, and then Jesse Eisenberg kind of recreated, is to do it twice. So to flick really quickly the first time so that there's really just no way they could get a card. And you can say, that might have been too quick. And then you're gonna go through and do the force. So that scripting altogether is, hey, I'm gonna go through the cards and I want you to see a card and just lock it in your mind. Not this one, because that would be too obvious. Okay, you ready? That might have been too quick. I want you to really make sure you see one, okay? And there you go. So once you've practiced that part, the next part of the trick is to show their card or to show the top card and get it wrong, right? So you're gonna lift the top 2 cards as though they are one, and there's multiple ways to do this. I teach a double lift tutorial on this channel, so if you want even more details about that, be sure to check that out there. But for our purposes, I'm just gonna quickly show you, this is the thumb count from Expert Card Technique, which is literally you're just thumbing down 2 cards, and then from here you can pop to your index finger, which gets you into a pinky break. And from here, I don't usually recommend this, but in context of this trick, it might actually be helpful. You can just straight up lift the 2 cards with your hand. Again, I don't recommend this as a double lift for other tricks. I'm usually going to recommend a more classic style of double lift, but for this situation, at the eye level, it tends to work okay. So you can just show, hey, this wasn't your card, but I want you to watch. From here, you can repivot into our position for the snap change. So we've gone from a psychological riffle force into a double lift, and now we're going to go here. So I just grab here, and then I go over here, and you're gonna get ready to snap your fingers on your dominant hand. Now, I am left-handed. So if you're right-handed, you'll wanna be sure to mirror what I'm talking about here. But you're gonna go over to your dominant hand, and you're gonna hold it just over, if you're a righty, it's gonna be just over the index of the card where the value and the suit is. You'll go over right here. For a lefty, I don't really have a landmark to tell you, but just put it on the bottom left corner of the cards. So you're here and you're literally just going to snap your finger at an exposed view. There. So obviously your angles are really important here. The card is hiding behind the other card. What you can do from this point is come down and place the card on top of the deck. And I like to turn the card over from there and show that it's a single card. For more on that idea, Daniel Madison, incredible magician and YouTuber, did a full masterclass on the snap change. And so for different methods of presentation and cleanup, I definitely recommend you checking that video out. But again, to recap that part, we're gonna lift, show that it's not their card, adjust into our snap change, snap to change the card, and then you can clean up. As far as the snap itself, you can flick the card, which kind of provides some motivation to the change. Mission Impossible movies hardly ever miss. They're such entertaining films. I super enjoyed the most recent one, and in that movie, we see Tom Cruise producing a MacGuffin, or one half of the MacGuffin, I think it was, which was represented by a key. He just kind of seems to produce it out of nowhere. So you're gonna need a key, and you're gonna use something to stick it to the back of your thumb. In this case, just some normal tape, Scotch tape is sufficient. Peel off your piece of tape, and you're gonna hold the key against your thumb and tape it down to your thumb. In my case, I'm readjusting it just a bit so that everything will basically be hidden when you straighten your thumb back. So there we go. I have it very elegantly attached to the back of my thumb. You can see what I'm doing there, right? Is I'm just furling my thumb in and I'm just uncurling it in order to make it vanish. So all you need to do is add your fingers, and this kind of allows you to, I like to hide this ugly truth as much as possible. So it's like almost a natural way to hold something, but you do have this kind of thing where if you were really holding it, it would be more like this. And so if you're able to angle it where the focus isn't so much on the curling of your thumb like that, that's a great angle because you're almost not really paying attention to the thumb being curled in. And then you can just extend it in a quick motion. And you want to be mindful of your angles because if you go too far down or up, you have issues. But from the straight on, you can make a pretty cool illusion. And then I would say in this case, you're gonna wanna bring it back, right? You can't just like dance away. So you have the key, make it vanish. You might blow on it to make it vanish, and then you can bring it back. So in the order that Tom Cruise did it in the movie, I think he actually did the reverse. He came from here and he was like, are you looking for this? And he kind of brought it down like this. He made it vanish again. And then I think you see an over the shoulder shot where this just is not there anymore. So that's the little bit of movie magic that he added. If you enjoyed these tricks, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another tutorial. And let me know in the comments what your favorite movie magic trick is. I'll see you next time.